Okay, classwork corrections. So I'm correcting questions 7 and 8. This is work that you had to do on Wednesday, and we'll start into it. So question 7, the table below gives the number of children per household on a certain street. So there could be 0. There was 12 families that had no children. There was 6 families that had 1 child, and so on. Okay, so we need to represent this information on a bar chart. So to do it, as you've seen, on the side here is the number of people, so the number of households, which goes up to 14, that's the highest. Just move that to one side. So we're going to do a vertical line. Okay, and I'm just going to go every 2. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Now it's important you label what that is, and that is the number of households. Notice how I'm doing this in pencil, not pen. Okay. Next is the number of children per household. So the first one will be 0. Then there will be 1. And how about let's go up to 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, and then finally 6. Okay. And again, you need to make sure you label that, and that is number of children per household. I'm just going to get a pen to do a title for this. So this is the number of children per household on a certain street. Okay, now I'm ready to start. Okay, and you are going to do this in pencil just to make sure it's nice and neat and organized. And if you do make a mistake, you can change it. So there are 12 families that have no children. Again, if you have nice colors, it's nice to put these in color. Okay, next one is there's 1 family that has 6. Sorry, there's 6 families that have 1 child. Apologies. Ten families have 2 children. There are 14 families that have 3 children. So all the way up as far as 14. And there are 8 families that have 4 children. There are 6 families that have, there's 6 families that have 5 children. And finally, there are 4 that have 6. And again, you can use nice colors for this if you like. Now, I have my bar chart done and I have to answer a series of questions on it. Don't do it in the graph area. What I'd suggest you do is move to free space on your page. If you have space underneath, great. So if you have space underneath, that's fine. But if not, start fresh. So we have 5 parts to this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it says, how many households were on the street? So basically, I need to add up all of the numbers, the 12 and 6 and 10 and so on. Make sure you show your work. So you're going to add 12 plus 6 plus 10 plus 14 plus 8 plus 6 plus 4. And when you do that, and I'm going to just do it here now in front of you. So 12 and 6 and 10 and 14 and 8 and 6 and 4 is 60 families. Okay, good. Part 2 of this question is, how many households had 4 children or more? So again, 4 children or more, you go back to your little diagram. 4, there was 8 and 6 and 4. So adding those up together, 8 and 6 and 4. And again, you can grab your calculator if you like. 8 and 6 and 4 is 18. Okay, part 3, what fraction of a household had no children? So there was 12 families that had no children. Make it a fraction, you divide it by the total number of families, which is 60. Now, you don't just leave it as 12 over 60. We know that there's 12 goes into 65 times, but I'm going to show you 12 over 60. You can get it in its lowest form, which is a fifth. So 1 over 5. Part 4. What percentage of the household had 2 or 3 children? There was 10 families that had 2 children. There was 14 families that had 3 children. So we're looking for a percentage. And just on that, it's the number over the total multiplied by 100 over 1. The number is 10 and 14. That's 24 over the total, which is 60. And make it as a percentage, which means multiplied by 100 over 1. So 24 over 60 multiplied by 100 over 1. You can cancel down the fraction if you like. But you can just do it on your calculator altogether, which is 40%. When you're asked for percentage, make sure you put the unit or the symbol beside it. What was the third most common number of children per household? So this is easier seen visually. So you can go to your graph. So that's the highest, which is 3. The second highest was none, and the third highest was 2 children. So that's what was the third most common number of children. 2 children was the third most highest. Okay, great. So that's question 7 done. Question 8 is the last one that you had for classwork. And question 8 has 4 parts in it. The graph is drawn out for you, so I'm maybe going to give every second space this time because I felt I didn't have enough space for the first 5. Okay, and I'm just going to push this down so you can see the questions and the graph at the one time. Okay, let's go. The following bar chart represents the marks scored by a class of 30 pupils in a test. Okay. So these are the number of pupils. So 8 pupils scored. So the graph is actually working differently to the way you've normally seen it. How many pupils scored 7 marks or more? So the marks 7 marks or more. So there was 2 students and 2 students and 1 student. So show your work. 2 plus 2 plus 1 is 5. So because this is a number of pupils. So 2 and 2 and 1. Good. What mark was scored most frequently? So the mark that was scored, although there was 8 people that did it, the mark that was scored most frequently was 6. What percentage of pupils got less than 4 marks? So I need to make it as a percentage. I'm going to put the number over the total and multiply by 100 over 1. And that's equal to the number of students I need to calculate first. 4 marks or less. So 5 plus 2 plus 3 plus 1. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Out of the total. Just going to double check that. 4 marks was 5, 2, 3 and 1. Yeah, so, and make it a percentage. 11 out of 30 multiplied by 100 over 1. You can grab your calculator for this. 11 over 30 multiplied by 100 over 1. Which is 36.66666%. So you would have seen before 36.6 with the dot on top means 36.6666666. Does it ask me to correct the most nearest percent? No, you can just leave it as 36.6%. That's fine. Okay. Now, the last one. Which mark was scored by exactly 3 students? So 3 students scored 2 marks. Okay, and that completes the correction of your classwork. There are other bar charts to practice if people felt they needed more time on it. Okay, so you can see there's question 9, 10 and 11. Okay, so that's just correcting or practicing a little bit more with the bar charts. But what we're going to move on to today is stem and leaf plots. Stem leaf plot is a very good way of displaying information. What I'd like you to do is grab a highlighter and you're going to highlight with me as well. Oh, and it's kind of saying exactly what I was saying. A stem and leaf plot is a very useful way of presenting numerical data. Bearing in mind numerical data, you could have different types of data. You could have data that has words involved in it. So like hair color, that kind of thing. So this is words. For numerical data, this is the best way to show it. It's useful because it shows the original data and gives you an overall picture. Okay, so you're going to highlight that. Sorry. It's useful because it shows the original data and gives you an overall picture that shows the shape of the data. You'll see what I mean in a couple of minutes. It is similar to a horizontal bar chart. So question 8 that we did was a horizontal bar chart with the numbers themselves forming the bars. So you can see here that the numbers coming out, they look like a bar on its side. So it's coming up, you know. Okay. It is, stem and leaf plots are suitable for only small amounts of data. So it's suitable for only small amounts of data. The stem and leaf plot is made by splitting the number into 2 parts. And you'll see that in 2 minutes. If the numbers consist of 2 digits, like 34, 46, 57, the stem is the tens. Okay, and the unit speaks for itself. The units are the units. So the stem will represent the tens and the leaf will represent the units. So I'm just going to explain what these numbers mean. If I picked out this number, 0 and 3, that's the number 3. 1 and 7, that's the number 17. So there's 14, 17, 13, 24, 26, 21, 25, 37, 35, 32, 38, 33, 49, 43, 42, 51, 56. Because the 6 is the very last number on the whole diagram, that's the biggest number. Now, so this particular number, because 2 is the stem and 5 is the number, that number is actually 25. The biggest mistake people make on this is they say that that's the number 2, but that number is actually the number 32. Another thing that's important is a key. A key is a method to show you how to actually write the numbers down. So 3-5, that's 3, this is the line, and that's the 5. 3-5 means the number 35. The dash is where the line is between the stem and the leaf. So this is the stem on the left hand side, the leaf is on the right hand side. The stem is normally tens or hundreds or thousands, but normally tens. And the leaf are just the individual units. So the leaf is on this side. It is really important, and people forget this, but you must always add a key, and this is a key to show how the stem and leaf combine together. So it shows how the diagram works. It can be any number. So I could have chose 0-5 to show it's number 5, or 1-7 to show it's number 17. Everyone more than likely will choose different numbers to represent the key, but as long as you explain how it works, you'll get the marks. Now, the data or numbers represented above should, and this is really important, should be putting the numbers in order of size. So this is wrong. See the way 5 is before 3? Well, 3 is a smaller number, 3 should be first. So just see it being corrected down here. 3, then 5. Instead of 4, 7 and 3, it should be 3, 4 and 7. And then 1, 4, 5 and 6, and so on, that it's done in numerical order from smallest to biggest. And again, you can see there's a key drawn underneath. So there is a lot of rules with a stem and leaf diagram. You need to label stem, you need to label leaf. Okay, you need to give a key. And the stem usually represents tens, the leaf usually represents units. And then you order in size. I'm going to do the question here, this example, and I'm going to give you one question to do for classwork. Okay, so very quickly. And I'm just reading this out, and you are taking this down in your copy. So not only have you corrected these if they were right or changed them if they were wrong, you are going to write this into your copy now. So this is example 1. Okay. And it says, in seconds is taken by 20 students to complete a puzzle as shown below. These were the times: 17 seconds, 9 seconds, 23 seconds, 28 seconds, so on. Construct a stem and leaf plot to represent this information. Well, when you look at a question, you need to pick out the smallest number, and then you need to pick out the biggest number. The smallest number that I can see there is 8. The biggest number there I can see is around 36, maybe 36, I think is the biggest. Oh, maybe there's a 40. Oh, there's a 42. There's 44. 44 is the biggest number there. So in constructing the stem and leaf, the stem, because 8 is the smallest, 0 tens. So 0 will be on my stem, and the biggest number on my stem will be 4. So I'll have 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to grab a pencil to do this, because rather than writing out a stem and leaf diagram twice, if I did it in pencil, I could reorder them once I have them done. So I'm going to be taking these numbers, but I'm going to start doing a stem and leaf diagram now. And this is example 1 on page 362. Okay, so you'll write stem and leaf. Does it matter how far in on the page it goes? No, it just depends on how many numbers you have that will fit on the page and space that you have. The stem, I said 8 was the smallest number. So that means that stem is 0. And I found that the biggest number was 44. So 40 is the biggest stem. So the stem, you can't just skip from 0 to 4. You have to go up in chronological order. Chronological order being from smallest to biggest, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. You have to give all of them. Now that I have the stem done, grab a pencil, because you could make a mistake in this and, Now, 9 I see. Well, we can go to the 17 and do the first one. So 17 is, the unit is 10, and 7 is, the 10 is 1, and the unit is 7. So I'm just trying to be clever, and I know 7 is kind of a big number. Between 1 and 10, so I'm going to just keep it to the right hand side for a second. So it's on the line 1 and I'm keeping it to the right. Next is 9. Okay, so 0 is my 10 and the unit is 9. I'm just going to keep it again to the right hand side. So I've those two done. Cross them off as you do them. 23 is the next, and 3 is kind of a small number, so I'm going to keep it close. Then 28. Then 14, then 12. Now I can see there's a 12 and a 14, so I'm going to put the 2 first, obviously. Then 26, then 32. Then 23 and 19. Thirty-four, 13. Eight, 28. 42, 36. 23, 33. 11 and 44. Okay, so as you can see from my diagram, they are arranged from smallest to biggest, but I've done them in pencil so I can accurately do them nice and neatly. I'm going to grab an eraser for a second. So 8 and 9 are the only ones that I needed for 0. But I'm going to do this bit by bit, so just watch what I'm doing. Before I rub out anything, I was told there was 20 students in the class. How do I know there's 20 people there? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I know there's 20 people in the class because I've accounted for 20 people. So now that I know I've accounted for everyone, I'm going to just rub out one line at a time. And I need to put 8 and 9 into it. 1, 2, 3, 4. And don't forget the 7 and 9. So I'm not doing all the numbers at one time because I know I might get confused. 3, 3, 3, 6, 8, 8. 2, 3, 4, 6. And then 2 and 4. Okay. Again, double check you have done all 20 numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Great. Now, I would normally put commas in between this because when you are writing, you're not going to be as neat as the book is. I would put in commas. Okay. Now, another thing that's important that you learned a couple of minutes ago. So it is going from smallest to biggest. Every one of them is. A key is another thing. It can be anything. Doesn't matter. I can go with the 4, 2, 42. So it's 4-2 equals 42. But it really doesn't matter. I could do 1-1, 1-2, 1-. Really doesn't matter. As long as you put one in. So now at this stage, I have aligned all of the numbers from smallest to biggest. Okay, as you can see, they just wrote them down first and then reordered them. Now you can do that if you like, it just takes a little bit more time. And in an exam or pressurized situation, you're more than likely just going to do a pencil and rub it out. All I want you to do is do question 1 on page 362. Okay, and that completes the class. What you are going to do now is you are going to leave the video and you're going to put a thumbs up on the Teams chat. Okay, so as you recall, there isn't an attendance for today. You are doing a thumbs up as your attendance. Make sure you correct your questions 7 and 8. You take down the example and highlight what was really important from STEM and Leaf. There is a good bit to it. And you're just going to do question 1. The questions of question 1 are actually on page 362. I'm just going to point them out just because I know some of you. So here's your STEM and Leaf question. And here are the questions on it. Okay, and I will be talking to you on Monday, correcting question 1 and possibly highlighting a few more questions for you to do. And essentially that's the end of this chapter, another thing done. So that's it. So have a lovely weekend. You're finishing this off now. You're doing question 1 and I'll see you on Monday. Don't forget to like the Teams video.